Okay.
What's the time right now?
Yeah, about
6 seconds. 6 seconds. 12 seconds. They're counting it down now. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! It's a new decade. Well, first of all, let me congratulate all the champions. It was a great night. You guys fought well. You guys earned the right to be here. You fought right throughout the season. The season has been a great season. And tonight was just the icing on the cake. You guys looked amazing tonight. So congratulations to all you guys. To our PFL staff, everybody put together and worked together to make this night happen. And so congratulations PFL, you guys were amazing. Obviously the road to PFL this year was a rough one and a good one. But as you saw tonight, like I said, it was just a highlight of the year where all the 6 champions came out and showed up and did their thing. And so we had new champions, we had old champions, but not old as in old, but you know, guys that became a returning champion. Yes, thank you. Champ. And so again, congratulations and happy New Year to everybody. Is actually still with the commission, so she's going to be a little bit late, but yeah,
she will be here. So.
Yep.
Questions? Ray, so new decade, wonderful year in the PFL. What will you take overall, how you guys did, and going into next season, what you're looking forward to?
I think tonight spoke for itself. Everybody came out and looked amazing. I was getting texts and social media tweets and whatnot from all over the world saying that, that the show looked amazing and that everybody looked great. So, I mean, you know, it's just one of these things where you just got to continue to grow, and that's exactly what we feel. I feel like we've grown from last year, and I think next year we're going to grow even more. And I mean, that is the game, and that is the goal, is to continue to get better and better. And of course, put on great fights like tonight.
My first question is for Lance. Lance, you know, I'm right here on this side. Hey. So, you know, obviously you had talked in the post-fight conference and in the cage, you had talked about the original plan was to strike. What made you deviate from the plan?
I really just wanted to get a finish in this fight, and it didn't accumulate the way I wanted to. So the way any fight can go, just have to adapt while you're in there. And I felt that my striking was cleaner and better than his, but at the same time I wanted to show that I could out-grapple him, since he had 2 finishes against other guys who were high-level guys during the season. So didn't get the finish like I wanted to, but I still felt that it was a good performance overall.
You had talked about, you know, how good you knew his grappling was, and he had almost caught you with that choke a couple of times. Were you ever in real trouble, or you seemed to stay very calm? Yeah, I was pretty calm in that position. I worked with Casey Halstead and Ricardo Almeida basically this entire year, because we trained for him in May. So all of his front chokes and ninja chokes and everything, that was all stuff we were prepared for, and just not letting myself get uncomfortable if I did get in that position. Congratulations on being now a multimillionaire. Thank you very much. Second question is for Ray. You know, for whatever reason, your fight, I think, made the crowd the most emotional. There was a really beautiful exchange between you and your dad in the cage. Can you talk about a little bit of what happened with that and what you guys said to each other?
It was just a long year last year and a long year this year. I had some bumps in the road throughout the season, and yeah, I was just thanking him, because without my dad, I wouldn't be here, and he's my everything. He's my rock, and he pushes me every day, and even when I don't like training, he pushes me, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. So, thanks to my dad. Now, obviously, hitting any fighter to the body is going to do damage, but was that a particular part of the game plan with Mashad, knowing what had happened to him in the beginning of the season and the rib injury? It seemed like once he took that shot to the ribs, that's where there was a little bit of a downfall. He did come back a bit, but was the body shots a part of the game plan? No, not really. I just go in there for just try to take him out, hit him as hard as I can, and it's a fight. You can get caught in all places, and it's gonna hurt. So yeah, just try to just blast him as hard as I can.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ray, you came close last season, very close to win. Obviously, you came to the final. What did it feel like to finally, win the belt and win this championship? And was it what you imagined, like the feeling would be?
Yeah, I came close last year. It feels good, but I'm looking to win multiple titles and multiple years. So this is just a first step, and next year is going to be even harder. So I just got to keep training hard and waiting for what the future lies ahead.
Next season, Roy McDonald's going to be in the tournament. Are you looking forward to that? Does that spice things up a bit, knowing that he's a big name?
Oh yeah, he's a veteran in the sport. He can win over BJ Penn, one of my boys, and I'd like to get him back for that. And, yeah, so I fight him first. I'll fight him first. I'll fight him whenever. I'm ready for him.
And for Lance, you mentioned that you had some issues, I believe, post-fight. What were some of the situations you were battling in during the fight?
I just had a lot of different things going on during camp, and some camps you have are super smooth, and then you have a super tough fight, and then you have other camps where it's a rocky road to get to the fight, and then you have a great fight. So just the usual things that go on that I'm not going to talk about, but we got the job done.
It seems you're in a crazy streak now. Does it almost seem like this PFL format is perfect for your style and, obviously your background, where you come from, your wrestling background?
Yeah, it's definitely something that not everybody can do. Just going through 5 fights in a 7-month period of time, but I feel like it's something that I was bred to do, coming from a wrestling background and being able to grind and have 7 and 8 wrestling matches in one day and go through 150 matches in a year growing up. Like, that stuff, it's all prepared me for this.
And obviously winning $1 million is pretty cool, and must be a crazy feeling, but you've done it twice now. Did the feeling change? Is it like a little less exciting, or is it more exciting?
I think the pressure was different this time on myself. I think I put a lot more pressure on myself to get the job done. Especially, it's hard fighting the same guy 3 times in 6 or 7 months or whatever it is. So that was all, all different things that added into it. But winning's always going to be important to me. So just getting it done and getting another belt that was cool. So not much else to say.
And now for Emiliano, por acá. You're the first Argentine champion in a major North American promotion. What does that feel like, and what does that mean to you? It seems there was some Argentines in the crowd, and they were really proud of you.
El primer argentino campeón del mundo, y espero que esto sirva para las nuevas generaciones y otros peleadores para que vean que sí se puede, y bueno, esperemos que el año que viene tener más argentinos en PFL.
It's an honor to be the first Argentinian world champion, and it's an example for other guys and other kids to see that you can make it from there, and we hope the next season we have more Argentinians in the PFL.
And you went against another superior wrestler. What tools did you use to implement in your game to bring the belt home?
Так как ты выступал против тоже борца, что определенного ты сделал, чтобы забрать эту победу? Что сделал ты для победы, так как ты встречался тоже с борцом?
Делал, что боролся, хорошо смог, то, что я готовил. Конечно, сумма не получилось, но знал, что борется. Я был уверен в своей борьбе, как бы все равно. Из этого все прошло как положено.
I knew that he is a superior wrestler. I prepared a lot for him. I didn't show everything that I prepared, but thanks God, I got the victory.
Questions for Ray Sefo, actually. Ray, we got to talk about the Natan fight. I think easily that was the fight of the night, probably one of the best in MMA in all of 2019. How did you score the fight at the end of it, and how impressed were you with both men's performances?
Yeah, I think that fight is going to go down and probably next year as one of the best fights of the year. Listen, Natan is a champion for a reason, and last year he proved the reason why he's a champion, and this year he came out and did it again. Lloyd is a tough customer, that's without a doubt, but they both put on an amazing fight, and Natan is still young, he's still growing, and you know, he's a homegrown champion for PFL, and so it's we're proud to have him here, and you know, he's going to be a champion for a long time. There's going to be a lot of challenges, but I don't see, you know, all these guys up here, most of them are going to be champions for a long time, just because, again, they showed that they're superior at what they do. I mean, Lance was another returning champion, and again, he did it tonight as well. And so did Natan, and that fight definitely, Natan and Lloyd was definitely the fighter of the night.
Another one for Ray. So much success with Kayla coming through and Sarah Kaufman and stuff like that. You're going to look to build out that lightweight division to have some more fighters next year, and also you're looking at any other female divisions for the 2020 season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously right now the 155 division is where we're at for women's division. We have, you know, we haven't announced it yet, but we have talked to a few promoters from around the world that will be doing a female four-woman tournament, if you will. So there's some, you know, a lot of interest from around the world with that, and hopefully we'll find some more great fighters that's going to come out of those little tournaments.
Question for Emiliano. You mentioned after you won in your speech that you had used a sports psychologist to help with your training. Could you just talk about when you implemented a sports psychologist and what kinks that he or she helped with that helped you prepare for this year's season?
Dijiste que trabajaste para esta temporada con un psicólogo deportivo. ¿Puedes decir cuándo empezaste a trabajar con él y en qué te ayudó?
Empecé a trabajar con él como un mes antes de empezar el torneo, y mi problema era que me tomaba la pelea demasiado ligero, al contrario de algunos que se ponen muy nerviosos. Yo totalmente lo contrario, entonces necesitaba encontrar un punto medio.
He started 1 month before the tournament to start, and his problem was that he get the fights very relaxed, like the opposite of the people that get nervous for the fight. He was very relaxed, so he was needing to get in the right point.
This question is for Ray. It's for you, but it sort of involves Natan and Lance too. Somebody at the press conference mentioned to Lance, maybe if he wins the title, maybe going up to lightweight or whatever like that. In between seasons, is there any chance, you know, how you have showcase fights on cards, maybe in between seasons, like a showcase event where you do special fights, you know, showcase new fighters, and maybe, you know, super fights like, say, Lance and Natan, and also to both guys if they'd be interested, something like that?
I guess you want me to go first?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, listen, there's a lot in the works for PFL, and those were part of discussions along the way. Not necessarily Natan and Lance, but we talked about doing some super fights and whatnot. But that's part of the plan. You know, whether it happens next year or the following year after that, I'm not sure exactly, but there are, you know, discussions in terms of putting on some super fights.
Lance, Natan, super fight?
I think it would be an awesome challenge. Natan's a great champion. I think that would be really cool. But obviously we have a format that we have to stick to for PFL, but if there was any way that could happen or give something to the fans, I think it would be awesome. I mean, he's a great opponent, and that'd be a great challenge for me.
Natan, você entendeu a pergunta? Hã?
So, eles perguntaram se tem algum interesse de ter uma super luta entre você e o Lance, visto que vocês são dois campeões.
Eu acho que são categorias diferentes e eu sofro um pouco para descer para o peso leve e acho difícil ele subir, então acho que cada um acaba ficando na sua divisão.
There's two different weight divisions. I kind of suffer a little bit to make lightweight. I don't believe that he's gonna want to go to lightweight, and I think, and we both, you know, stay in the division is the natural course of it.
In other words, they said no.
I don't know if anybody wants to comment on this, but I'd love to hear from some of the fighters about how awesome it is to have Mike Tyson put a belt around you. Does anybody want to comment on that?
Yeah, let me comment first. I mean, you know, it's an honor for me to just be standing next to him and talking to him. You know what I mean? And I just put myself in these guys' shoes, where he gets to hand the belt over. I mean, that is a lifetime memory that you never forget. You know, when you retire, hey, who gave you your belt in 2019 PFL Championship? Oh, Mike Tyson. I mean, how many people get to say that, right? So it was an awesome thing to see, and I'm sure the guys will love to come in, and it was great.
I was more lucky though, because you gave me the belt.
Good answer.
He's right.
Now, Ray, would like to talk a little bit about just the fact that a lot of people have known more about the PFL this year than ever with the ESPN2 deal. Now Rory McDonald. Can you talk a little bit about the light that's being shed on the league?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, PFL is here to stay. And tonight is the biggest night of MMA when you crown 6 world champions. We did that last year, we did it this year, we're going to do it again as the years go on and on and on. And all the champions that sit here tonight, I mean, you know, it just goes to show that we'll continue to grow. And then adding someone like Rory to the mix, you know, the sky's the limit for PFL. And there's a lot of discussions with other, you know, people that are interested and want to come over. And so it's just a matter of time where, when I say we're growing, we're going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I think, you know, we showed that this year, and next year is just another year to show that PFL is here to stay.
How has ESPN affected the league and has helped maybe the eyes that have been on it?
ESPN has been great. I mean, they've been a great partner, and the fact that we're on ESPN speaks volumes, and it just goes to show, and it says the message out there that PFL is here and that we're alive and well, and we're going to continue to sign some big names and continue to grow.
Can you maybe give us some idea of who you think would give Rory McDonald the biggest challenges coming up?
I think everybody in the division, the 70 division, is going to be tough. Listen, Rory's a great champion. He's been a champion before, and he's a great warrior. He comes to fight without a doubt. But he got to see some of the, you know, 2 of the tough 170 pounders tonight, in Ray and David and Sharp. And so, you know, now he knows that's the kind of level that he's going to be looking to compete at. Because if he comes in here and he takes it easy, that might be a, you know, a mistake for him. But knowing Rory that's been in the game a long time and very experienced, he's going to know what to expect, and he's going to, you know, obviously we're going to expect the best of him.
Last question for you. Ray, what's the bucket list for the PFL? What's your absolute bucket list for 2020?
Sign more big name fighters, continue to grow, and just, I mean, tonight my phone,
This is for your
okay, let me just clarify something. This is actually ginger ale. It's ginger ale. It's not wine. But my phone was going off like crazy tonight throughout the show, because everybody got to see what the PFL show tonight, and got to see all the champions get crowned, and also earn another $1 million. So, you know, that's just the icing on the cake. The show tonight was, and like I said, we're going to just continue to grow and continue to do the right things and sign more big names.
Ray, I have another question for you. Since you're talking about big names, signing big names, it was brought up maybe another women's division. It seems the PFL is doing good. Any chance, because that was a major story in 2018, of the middleweight division returning? You know, Lewis Taylor was a great story last year. Any chance of that coming back this season 3?
Season 3, you know, we're going to stick to the weight divisions that we had this year. And, you know, like I said, there's a lot of things in the works, and there's a lot of discussions about a lot of different things. And so, you know, we just have to wait for 2021 to come around, and we'll see, you know, what works and what we can add on and what we can take away.
And this last question for Ali. He's in rare special category, being a Russian-born heavyweight champion in a major promotion, along with guys like Fedor, Vitaly Minakov. What does it mean to him to be in the same breath as a Fedor and Minakov and some of the great Russian heavyweights?
И в списке российских чемпионов тяжеловесов, таких как Федор Емельяненко, Виталий Минаков. Что ты можешь сказать по этому поводу? Как для тебя быть в числе таких чемпионов?
Ну, конечно, мне очень приятно, что мне тяжеловес спросить тоже, что приятно, да, очень. Особо много сказать ничего не могу.
It's not much to say, but it's an honor to be a champion, especially in PFL and from Russia, and to be in the same list with Fedor Emelianenko and Vitaly Minakov. It's an honor.
Two brief questions. First one for Sordi. Your eye is very red. Did that get injured badly, or is it just a light scratch?
Fue solamente el guante que entró por dentro, pero está bien.
It was just the glove that fit in the eye, but he's all right.
And for Ray Sefo, there was a story obviously came out earlier today and yesterday. There's gonna be a lot of turnover on the PFL roster, half the league getting cut. Aside from obviously the champions, is there some names you know that are definitely safe? Is it everybody who is a finalist? Are there names that everybody might not come back? How's that going to work out?
What I can say is that the finalists definitely will be back.
That's it.
No,
no one else is saying.
No. Well, I mean, there are a few other names, but that's the thing about the league. You got to come in there and do your thing. Otherwise, you have to go out there and prove yourself again before you can come back.
And Ray, as far as new talent, is there anyone specifically you guys are eyeing out as far as free agents?
Right now, I mean, obviously, I can't go into those yet. There's going to be a time where we're going to announce the fighters and who's being signed for the new season. Obviously, the announcement came out with Rory, so you guys all know that. But in terms of the rest of the roster, that will slowly feed out throughout the year. Obviously, it's New Year's now, but yeah, there's still some openings in all the divisions, and so we're just looking to finalize those in the next coming weeks.
Another question for you, Ray. We saw another impressive performance from Brandon Loughnane as he did in Vegas. With him and Umar Nurmagomedov making their debuts this season, is there a plan to formulate a division for them going forward in future seasons?
Sorry, what were you saying about Brandon?
His performance tonight, with him and Umar Nurmagomedov, how they debuted this season. Is there a plan for a division for them going forward in future seasons?
Well, Brandon obviously looked sharp tonight, looked good, and he's already signed to the league for season 2020. He will be fighting at 145 in the 145 division. But when, obviously that he knows how tough it is to, in terms of the lineups, and he got to see a little bit of what the season's all about. He got to see a bit of the playoffs. So, listen, Brandon's a tough kid, but again, he's got his work cut out from come season 2020, because everybody, and that goes for everybody, the champions as well. Everybody's going to be gunning to dethrone the champions as well, and so it's going to be a tough road for everybody.
And Ray, obviously Kayla Harrison looked extremely dominant tonight. Can you share some words about her performance and sort of her ceiling, because she's still a very new fighter in MMA, of course, and sort of where she ranks, or where you think she ranks right now among some of the best females that we see out there in the world?
Well, right now she's ranked #1 in the 155 division. You know what I mean? And she showed tonight that she has a, like she said in the cage, she has a very, obviously her grappling was a lot stronger than Larissa. Larissa is a very tough customer. But you know, those two are going to face each other again come next year because they both are going to be in the season. But yeah, no, listen, Kayla is a young fighter. She's still a lot to grow, but you're seeing, you know, a lot of her growth in terms of what she's doing, and she threw some nice kicks out there today. She, you know, but she went to what she's good at and strong at, and that was to obviously it takes two to tango, and Larissa had to, you know, her again was to kind of try to defend that takedown and keep the fight standing, and obviously Kayla was strong in her grappling and was able to be successful tonight.
Great. One more question. Is, you know, what a lot of the fellows here did is something that Kayla didn't do. Is there any chance you could guarantee for next year that the women's division will be expanded and there will be a playoff where the fellows went through 2 fights in one night? Is there a chance that's going to be instituted next year, or is that still iffy?
Again, you know, these are all the things that we talk about, but I think the final decision is that, well, actually, I shouldn't say the final decision. There is talk, you know, I mean, we have discussed this in terms of having the female division go to 12 fighters for the division. And like I said, there's some tournaments that's happening around the world. And once we get those results, and then we'll make the final decision within the next month or so.
Last year, you're big, or yeah, last year this time, you kept on saying 2019 PFL champion. How does it feel to have that belt and that $1 million check?
Thank you so much. Yeah, it feels amazing. You know, Larissa's a tough opponent. It was a great fight, I feel like. What a way to end 2019, last fight of the decade. What an honor for me, what an honor it is for me to fight for the PFL and be changing the game alongside all of these warriors. You know, it's just truly a privilege, and 2020 is going to be the year of the unicorn.
Kayla, I know that the last time you fought Larissa, you were upset that you guys went the distance, but I'm sure it's a lot easier to handle when there's $1 million at stake and Mike Tyson is putting the belt around your waist.
No kidding.
So can you talk a little bit about, okay, yes, you went the distance again, but you know how you handled it this time is a lot different.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still slightly disappointed in myself. This time I held my composure better. I wanted to cry, mostly because I didn't finish her and because my ankle hurt and because Mike Tyson's putting a belt around my waist and I just won $1 million. It was just so many emotions, you know, so many. It's like the highest of highs in there. But she's really good. She's tough. She's a game fighter. She's tough as nails, and my hat's off to her. And you know, obviously I'm impressed with her, but I'm also proud. I overcame a little bit of adversity tonight, and I felt like my gas tank was really good. I feel like I learned a lot about myself, and I know I have a lot to improve on. I can't wait to get back to ATT.
We were actually commending, first of all, the power double that just shot from the middle of the cage all the way. I think it would have went to the 3rd row if there wasn't a cage there. And secondly, a lot of judoka don't adapt to the wrestling to the degree that you have. So can you talk a little bit about it? It looks like you look like a natural wrestler now.
Well, I just have the best coaches in the world, don't I? I mean, Mike Brown, Steve Mocco, Anderson Franca, my coach Big Jim, American Top Team. I have the best training partners in the world. I truly believe in what they teach there and what they preach. I'm the type of athlete, if you say jump, I say how high. And Mako Mondays, I don't know if anyone follows me on social media, but Mako Mondays are legendary, and the wrestling practices are also legendary. And I'm in there scrapping with D1 wrestlers, and you know, these guys, they've taught me well, and I think that that's something that girls don't do. They don't wrestle a lot, you know, and it's something that gives me an edge. So.
The last question I have for you, you know, it was a really emotional moment with your mom. Did you know that she was behind you? Because it seemed
no.
Like...
No, I did not. I knew she was coming to the fight. She had some health scares earlier in the year, so she had to drive up. And one of her goals out for her rehabilitation was to make it to the fight. So I told her, you know, one of my mottos is a goal set is a goal met. So she made it to the fight, and I had to win the fight because that was my goal.
What's the most frivolous thing you'll do with the money?
I mean,
Like, it's just a stupid thing you want to buy.
I don't want to buy anything. I just want to, I'm going to donate a lot of it to my foundation. I'm probably going to buy my mom something wicked nice. Maybe take her on a really cool vacation somewhere pretty once she can fly again. And I just can't wait to get back to training.
I know you can be super critical of yourself, but can you talk a little bit about the change from the last time you fought Larissa to this time, what you think you did well and how you think the fight went?
I think that I was a lot more patient this time. I wasn't quite so frantic to get the takedown. I think even like in the 4th round, we were on our feet for quite a bit, and I wasn't really panicked. She hits hard though, so I was proud of the fact that when she did hit me, I didn't really shy away. I think I've gotten a lot more comfortable on my feet. And that showed in this fight, and I can take damage and give a little damage and keep coming forward. So a lot has improved, but again, just mountains of improvement that need to be made, and this is just the beginning. Like I told you guys, this is just a little spark. Like, I haven't even glowed yet. You guys are gonna see.
Kayla, so obviously, right here. Yeah. So obviously it's been a great year for American Top Team, you know, like your teammates, Amanda, Jorge. How does it feel that you fulfill one of your goals, adding the belt to that prolific gym, and of course you acknowledge your training partners and your progress, and also, funny question, when is the renovation starting for the sauna that you want to implement in the women's locker room?
Oh my God, that's right. The girls should get a sauna now. Dan, if you hear this, Richie. No, honestly, for me, it's just, you know, I walk into that gym every single day, and I'm so inspired by the people around me, by my training partners, my coaches. They've become my friends as well, and it keeps me hungry and it keeps me humble. I mean, obviously I come, you know, when I started judo, I moved to Pedro's, and I was sort of the little fish in the big pond, and then I kind of grew and I became this 2-time Olympic champion, and I kind of feel like that all over again at ATT. Like, I'm this little fish in this really big pond, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to become the biggest fish there, not just for fantasy football, but for everything. But it's just an honor to represent them, to represent American Top Team and all my coaches, and I hope I did them proud tonight.
Talk about just walking through the crowd for your entrance. I mean, like, was that just a goosebump moment for you, just to be able to see the support that you were getting and the love?
Yeah, it was really cool. George, one of the producers, talked to me about it before the fight and asked if I was comfortable with it, and we did a walkthrough, and I said, yeah, this is cool, let's do it. But I've never really experienced anything like that, you know, the fans so close, walking into the cage. It was pretty, I think I got like a little bit of an adrenaline dump from it, so I'm gonna have to learn to calm my nerves a little better, but it was amazing, really cool.
So, quick question, what did your coaches say to you between rounds 4 and 5? Because it seemed like strategically you changed a little bit, probably realized maybe you were up 4 rounds, and just to make sure that you, if it was there, take it. If not, were you just like trying to avoid her hard shots, excuse me?
I don't remember what they said in between the 4th and 5th. You know, they did assure me that I was up 4 rounds. The game plan was going really well. I actually rolled my ankle, or something happened in the 2nd round. When she reversed my takedown, something popped in my knee and my ankle, and I didn't really have as much pop in my step and in my shots, and I knew I was up 4 rounds, so I was just kind of trying to be smart, avoid the heavy shots. But then she got in on a really good guillotine, I think, at one point, and I was like, oh my God.
How close was that?
It wasn't close, but it's just a situation I've never really been in before, you know, so had to keep my composure and just remember what Mike Brown taught me.
Kayla, one last question.
Yeah.
World champion in 7 fights. I mean, you're about challenges, 2-time gold medalist. I'm sure you get challenged every day. ATT, your competitiveness, you challenge yourself every day.
Yeah.
What's the next challenge in season 3 for you? And is one of those challenges maybe pushing for the idea of fighting twice in playoffs, kind of like the guys did, is something you would like to challenge yourself with?
Oh my God, that sounds terrible. I don't know how they do it. Like, they're monsters. No, but for sure, obviously, I want to continue to grow as a fighter and as a human being. I look forward to seeing who else the PFL signs. I know they just signed Rory. They're trying to make the divisions deeper and stronger and better every single year. I think a lot of fighters are taking notice that, hey, the PFL is here to stay. They're changing the game, and if you want to be a part of something that is about sport and is about you controlling your destiny, then this is where you need to be. Oh, and also, by the way, $1 million helps. It's a pretty good selling point for the PFL. But I think ultimately, what was the second part of the question?
2 fights, 1 night?
Oh, 2 fights in 1 night. Yeah, I would do it. Yeah, well, fine. Screw it, let's do it.
On that note, I think that wraps it up. We have one more question?
One more question.
Okay.
Last question.
Sounds good.
Just for Lance and Kayla, you guys obviously both fought your opponents tonight earlier in the season. Did anything surprise you tonight about what they brought to the cage, and was anything different?
I didn't feel like he brought anything different, which I was kind of surprised, because from the first to the second fight he kind of tried to bring a couple different tricks and things like that, but he pretty much stayed with his same game plan from the first fight. I didn't really see any improvement or changes, but also in that short 10-week period from the semifinals to tonight, there's only so much you can do to change when you're fighting the same guy. So I've been training for Alex since April of this year, so I was pretty much prepared for anything that he could have brought to me.
Cut the corner on my doubles like Lance does. Jesus, oh my God. It's that Ohio State wrestling, isn't it? Go Bucks. No, I think everything was pretty similar. I knew she throws a lot of straight punches. She's a very heavy hitter. We worked a lot on defense and being smart for this fight, and just trying to be more relaxed on my feet. I think it went pretty according to plan. It was good night.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year. Thank you.